Hi there, I'm Java Jim with First Line Equipment, and welcome back to our YouTube channel if you've been here before. If you haven't, I give you a fresh welcome. And what do we have here in front of us? We have the new VBM, that's VBM, or what they used to be known as VBMA, espresso machine. This new model in front of us for 2021 is their Super Edition with a heat exchanger, and it's switchable from tank mode to plumbable and plumbable back to tank mode. And the machine is not drainable from the drip tray, just to make you aware, but it is a heat exchange machine. Inside there is a motor pressure stat that regulates the steam pressure, which is directly proportional to the temperature for the group head. It is adjustable from the top here after you remove the panel. It's not accessible through the panel. And basically I think it's because of a safety requirement that's required over in Europe. It does sport the VBM group head that has its own insignia right here. It has its own mushroom here. We have multi-directional wands, a plastic drip tray, and the one thing that they've put onto the new machines are these fantastic looking feet here, and of course a stainless steel frame. Now, keep in mind, machines that have stainless steel frames typically weigh a little lighter than those that have steel frames with black or colored enamel paint on it. The beauty about the stainless is less rust because there's no paint to come off and it's stainless. If it's a stainless body with enamel paint, then it's good. But sometimes with the steel paint, steel paint, the enamel paint on the steel, it starts to wear off, or basically what happens, it scratches and then it starts to rust. Will it rust and disintegrate? I haven't seen it in 23 years. So I would say no, but it becomes a nuisance because it does look very, very ugly. Now, the one thing that VBME did with their new models is something that's completely different, and their machines look fabulous when you see all those other machines that are all in shiny stainless steel. So that's a noticeable difference. And the machine, let me get this drip tray back in place. It's always more difficult from the rear. The machine has and comes with stainless steel panels. Okay, they're held in by two guides here. The machine has, and as it just came off, don't lose these. These little guides go into the screw on the top here, and then there are magnets that can move around. And to take the magnet off the panel, just see how it sticks, just take it off and put it and situate it on the machine. The prototype that I received had guides down here and it didn't work out too well. It was very difficult to manage. So it was better to go with more magnets and the two guides on top. We do have colored side panels that are sold as an option only. There are no machines that will come with the colors, but some customers are already buying the colors. And I'll just put the two guides here and voila. We have the panels on the side, one on each side. The machine does have a black painted body, which is really, really nice. Again, if it scratches, you want to be careful not to scratch it because you might get a little rust. So I haven't scratched mine yet. Now, some people may complain about a small water reservoir that's here. It's already filled. But there's two schools of thought on water reservoirs. You can have a large reservoir that has less refilling, okay, but the water sits there longer. Or you can have a smaller reservoir that has more refilling, but the water is fresh. So two schools of thought. One is more convenience, one is technically a little better coffee. I think when the water has not been sitting in the machine for a long time, I think it's better for the espresso that comes out. The accessories that are included, we have a cleaning brush, single spouted 1 cup portafilter with basket. I don't like the single cup baskets. A lot of people don't know this, but when you have a coffee, certain grind on the espresso coffee beans, you'll calibrate it for a double, and then you go to use a single and it's totally off. That's the biggest challenge with the single cup is you can't use the same grind fineness. Even though the dosage is less or more, it's really hard to calibrate the grind fineness for both cup baskets. So which means you have to change the amount of coffee in a basket, and it's just a big mess. So I always say use a 2-cup basket, take the single cup basket out, make it your paperweight. You got your metal blind, and some companies are starting to go to the plastic blind that you insert. Quick secret, how to get the baskets out so you don't ruin your fingernails, or like me, you don't have any fingernails. Take that basket in here, wedge it, that basket comes out, and use the single portafilter spout for your back flushing. Now, you do have a commercial grade dual spout, and you may not have a single cup where it will basically catch the extraction of espresso into the single cup because it's not wide enough. So what do? Take the single cup basket, take the blind off. We'll take the 2-cup basket and put it into the single spout. The other thing that this resolves is a lot of times customers say, hey, I get more espresso out of one spout than the other. And that's totally true. It has to do with the rotation of the espresso as it's working its way down through the 2 spouts. And most times, if the pour is mouse tails, it'll come outside one side first, and more will come out of that one side. If it's a little coarser grind, that may not happen, but it does happen, and it's normal. So use the double cup with the single spout. Tampers. You've seen my videos before. If you're new, you have not seen me mention this. There is a conspiracy in Europe with the plastic tamper companies, so you have to buy another tamper. And there's some machines that come with the better tampers, but in general, most of them are coming with this. Buy yourself a nice 58 millimeter tamper, and it'll work well with the VBM espresso machines, the new models for 2021. Another paperweight, and I wish they would get rid of this, but on the flip side, you may not like the design of the tamper that comes with the machine, so you still have to get another one. So I could see their point. Plastic scoop. If you've watched my other videos when we're making espresso, I like to overfill the basket and use the lever portion of this to level it out. Other than this, it's a waste. Now, the machine is plumbable. If you do plumb it, please use the machine in tank mode for 3 weeks. Want to make sure everything's working smoothly, as it usually does with VBM. And then if you decide to plumb it, there are requirements on our website, and I'm not going to go over them all, but typically the waterline pressure has to be regulated between 35 and 40 psi, okay, pounds per square inch. You should have a backflow preventer, which means that the water can't go backwards into the water system in your locale or in your house, because that you don't want to ruin the health of the water. There are also, you want a separate shutoff valve. So there are requirements on our website. Look for them. If not, email me or use the contacts form on the website saying you want to plumb in the machine, and we'll send you the link. Now, the biggest problem with European machines, such as VBM and pretty much all others, here we have a 1/8 female fitting that's going to go in through the back here. On the other side is basically a 3/8, but this is not national pipe thread. It's usually BSPP, which is a British standard, and we do sell adapters for this. Typically, this can cross-thread into a national pipe thread, but you will need to put some Teflon tape. On this side, when you're installing it, when you tighten the nut by hand, 1/4, 1/8 inch to fully tighten, and see if there's a little wiggle here between the hose and the nut, that needs to be tight. Okay, so just remember that. Put this back together. Also included in the top of the box in the foam is a test report by VBM, because they do test every machine with water. We really don't test VBM here so much because they've been so reliable for us out of the box. We do inspect them. We do add extra packaging inside to make sure there's safer transport to you via common carrier, not USPS, but basically UPS or FedEx. And then there's the instruction manual and this one's for the Super Analogic. Analogic means it has a pressure stat inside. Now, the machine does have a rotary vane pump, which gives you nice pump pressure and a lot of good performance. In essence, you could probably get about 200 extractions out of this machine per day. The machine is not on right now. The power button is right here on the side. When you fill the reservoir, it's best to fill the reservoir outside of the machine, and you can hear the rotary vane pump. You probably will need to fill the water tank more than once to fill the internal boiler. There's an auto refill from the reservoir into the boiler. Okay, so we have power here. This is probably a low water. And then we have our analog gauge here. It's a dual gauge. And we have a steam pressure on top for the boiler and basically the pump pressure that's on the bottom. Now, that was a pretty fast refill. So this machine's right out of the box. You're gonna say, wow, this is a little blurry. And probably on your screen, it is a little blurry. This area right here in the black. There is a little film that they put over, and that can be peeled off. But I suggest testing the machine first with water. Make sure everything is working fine. Make sure there are no leaks on the machine. Sometimes in transport, a pipe will shift a little bit and it just needs a little tightening. Okay, so that's pretty much it on this fabulous new for 2021 VBM Super Heat Exchange Espresso machine with the rotary vane pump and capability to plumb it in. If you have any questions, please ask down below in the comment section if you have any, or just visit our webpage. There'll be a link down below. We have a Q&A tab that you can ask your questions. We prefer it there so that Q&A grows up so everyone can see, and we have one area where all the questions are asked. And then hopefully you give this machine some great consideration and get one into your home or office, because we know that you will enjoy it. Thank you for watching. This is Jim with First Line Equipment, and have a great VBM day.